The Eagles held on by the skin on their chinny chin chin. Held on by the skin on their chinny chin chin, and they get past the Rams 28-22 to reach the NFC Championship game for the second time in 3 years. But the better story is in the losing locker room, and so that is where we will focus. Let us discuss. Question: where did things go wrong for Sean McVay's Rams? They won the stat sheet but lost the game. Where did things go wrong for Sean McVay's Rams? So I've got drive-through, utensils, and Hulkamaniac. And we will combine all of these things together, and we will provide a investigation, a Maller Show investigation is what we're going to do. So number one. Yes. Number one. This is not open heart surgery. We're just talking about sports. We're just talking about a random football playoff game. The Rams sucked at a time you cannot suck. That would be the start of the fourth quarter, but really only for a few minutes at the start of the fourth quarter, but that was enough to sink their battleship. That's the problem. They matched the Eagles blow for blow. In fact, they won the stat sheet, but it was 11 seconds in. That was the point of demarcation for the Rams. 11 seconds in to the fourth quarter. The Rams were trailing by 1 point. It's a 16-15 game. The Rams trailing by 1 point. Sean McVay decided to leave the stadium. He went out. He went through the drive-thru at Wendy's. He ended up ordering not one, but 2 Frosties. And Frosty, the snowman, Kyron Williams, a Golden Domer. He went to Notre Dame. He played in cold weather. You wouldn't know it because the Ram running back, fumble! Yeah, he turned the ball over right around midfield. The ball was returned to the Ram 10-yard line. Rams up by 1, cough up the football, and that ultimately led to a field goal by the Eagles. So now you're down by 4. That was Frosty the Snowman number 1. Frosty the Snowman number 2, LA's very next drive. Matthew Stafford coughed up a fur ball. And fumble! That was also in Ram territory at the 38-yard line, handing the ball, setting up the Eagles offense, giving the Eagles a short field. But they couldn't get a touchdown because they're really not that good. But the Eagles got a field goal, 22-15. That was Frosty the Snowman number 2. And so in the span of a couple of minutes, the Rams went from potentially driving down the field to have a field goal attempt to take the lead, be up by 2 or a touchdown, to go up by a bunch, and it didn't happen. Those 2 fumbles by Kyron Williams and Matthew Stafford ultimately provided the difference in the game. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night, but a team from the West Coast, a supposedly soft team against a big, tough, burly Philadelphia Eagle team. If I'm a Philadelphia Eagle fan, I'm not feeling very good because that game was a lot closer than it needed to be. Now, page 2, following the loss, Matthew Stafford was quizzed about his future. I think we have some audio on that. Let's go to the audio tape. Here's Matthew Stafford asked about what's going to happen going forward. Take a listen.
I'm so proud to be associated with this group, and as far as my future goes, I mean, it's 30 minutes after the last game, so I'll take some time to think about it, but I feel like I was playing some pretty good ball.
You got football left in you?
Sure feels like it.
You might want to see a doctor and have that taken out. Anyway, so Stafford saying, hey, take some time to think about it. That was the money quote about his future, leaving the open end to that question. I don't know. The plot thickens. So we're answer people here. What are the odds Matthew Stafford returns to the Rams in 2025's regular season? What are the odds Matthew Stafford returns to the Rams? Again, his commentary, you just heard it there. Take some time to think about it is what he said. So I'm going to set the Maller odds at minus 150 on Stafford returning to the LA Rams. That implies a 60% chance, but also a 40% chance he does not come back to the Rams. And here's why. A couple years ago, the Rams came this close. You can't see my fingers, but this close to getting rid of Matthew Stafford. They were ready to move on. They thought he was too damaged, and they were looking to unload Stafford. It didn't work out at that point. And so the Rams right now and Stafford, yet again, are staring at utensils. They are at a fork in the road. A fork in the road. Stafford played the 2024 regular season and now, obviously, the postseason, essentially on a one-year contract. Now, he got paid very well. The riches of Solomon, or in this case, the riches of Stan Kroenke, the owner, $40 million essentially for 1 year. The contract allows the Rams and Stafford to reassess after the season. The season is now over, and voila, here we are back at the fork in the road, the crossroads. Stafford has been year to year really for a couple of seasons now. The Rams, they have no safety net, which I'm fine with. It'll be kind of fun to see what they do if Stafford does leave. All of their eggs have been in the Stafford basket. They had Jimmy Garoppolo, who's pretty washed up as the backup, and so they'll have to turn over some rocks and futz around and try to find a quarterback if Stafford retires or if he goes to some other team. But the smart money says he goes back 1 year, year-to-year situation. It's 60-40, as I said. Now, the positives, you weigh the positives and the negatives and all that. The positives are he's comfortable with McVay. McVay's comfortable with him. The Rams are set up to be a good team year in and year out because they drafted well. They have the money to spend. They sign free agents and whatnot. Rams have a stud wide receiver, Puka Nacua. Their other stud wide receiver, Cooper Kupp, appears to be washed up all of a sudden, but they have other playmakers. The negatives, Matthew Stafford is about to turn 37, has a history. His medical chart is reminiscent of Kawhi Leonard or Anthony Davis from the NBA. Gets hurt quite a bit. He's battered, beaten, bruised, all of that. And so if Stafford is gone, the Rams will have to go down to the flea market. And you look at the quarterbacks that are going to change teams or could change teams this offseason. There are some real turds. Sam Darnold, Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins is out there, Russell Wilson, Justin Fields. Need I go on? That's the quarterback shuffle this offseason. That's the quarterback shuffle. So it's Stafford conceivably, if he wanted to, seems to like L.A. and the vibe in L.A. and his wife's annoying, does that stupid podcast. But they could run off to Pittsburgh or somewhere like that, Stafford, and play for the Steelers and give it a go there with Mike Tomlin. That's unlikely to happen. Now, final point. So prior to the Ram-Eagle game, the Ram rookie stud pass rusher, your defensive rookie of the year, more likely than not in the NFL, Jared Verse, said, quote, "I hate Eagles fans," he said. "They're so annoying." He pointed out, "I hate Eagle fans," is what he said. "When I see that green and white, I hate it," Verse said. "I actually get upset," he stated. "Like I actually genuinely get hot." Just like hot flashes. Like say, going through menopause or something. Wow. All right, so this was, of course, played up in the media as a big event. It was played up as a big deal and all that stuff. So some connecting the dots say, well, the Eagles won that game because Jared Verse said this about Eagle fans. Question, did Rams rookie Jared Verse trashing the Philadelphia Eagle fan base, did that help push Philly into the winner's circle? All right, so how about, Kyren Williams and Matthew Stafford, both of them fumbled because of that quote. Unless they didn't. You'd have to be a country bumpkin to think that is the case. Now, I know there's a lot of country bumpkins out there, but come on. I did get a kick out of Verse going Hulkamaniac. I saw this clip prior to the game playing mind games as he took a lap, Jared Verse, the rookie, around the link. Before the game, he was egging on the Eagle fan. He was egging them on, putting his hand around his ear like Hulkamaniac, Hulk Hogan there, the king of them, and encouraging the boos, soaking it all up there, playing the villain role, enhancing the fan experience. And Verse backed it up. He played well. He had 4 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, a couple of sacks, a couple quarterback hits. So he lived up to the billing. The Rams defense had a couple of meltdowns. And that combined with the fumbles did him in. But, going in next year, Rams will probably win the NFC West again. The Niners are going to give that stiff Brock Purdy a lot of money. Seattle's got no quarterback with Geno Smith. Arizona's trotting out Alligator Arms Murray. So the Rams, I don't even care if Stafford leaves, they're still going to win the NFC West. Sean McVay's the top coach in that division by a country mile. The Rams have Puka Nacua. They've got a bubbling up defense here. So things are fine in Ramland, and it's pot luck here in the playoffs. It's hit and miss in the postseason. But going in, you're gonna have a better coach than everyone else in the NFC, as Sean McVay is the top coach in the NFC. So you know that going in. Assuming they sign a free agent or two and they draft a couple of guys that are halfway decent, the Rams will continue to climb up the ladder. I know you're annoyed by that, but that's the reality. For Philadelphia, though, on the other hand, I wouldn't be feeling too good if I'm a Philadelphia Eagle fan. I would not. Jalen Hurts, when he's healthy, isn't all that good, and he's not healthy. So if Washington, they don't have a great defense, but if they can just box everything up, right, force Jalen Hurts to make a bunch of plays, good luck. Good luck on that. We'll see how that goes. Can you imagine Washington makes the Super Bowl? Man.